King Doho sat on his throne made of rare metals from 100 conquered worlds. His green scales caught the light as he moved, creating ripples of emerald across his tall frame. The 3 moons of the Taiwan homeworld shone through the crystal dome above, casting multiple shadows behind each council member. "The reports are conclusive," said Advisor Qiwu, bowing low before presenting a data sphere. "Earth is ripe for conquest." The king's yellow eyes narrowed as he activated the sphere. A holographic image of the blue planet appeared, spinning slowly above the polished black floor. Various data points highlighted military installations, population centers, and resource deposits. "Such a beautiful world," King Doho mused, extending one clawed finger to rotate the projection. "And you say they are still primitive?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Advisor Qiwu confirmed. "They have achieved basic spaceflight, but their weapons are chemical-based. Their most advanced chips can barely reach their own moon." General Sunho stepped forward, his battle armor clicking with each movement. "They divide themselves into nearly 200 separate territories. They cannot even unite their own species." King Deho laughed, a sound like stones grinding together. "Perfect. I want this planet. It will make an excellent addition to my collection." The 12 council members nodded in agreement. None would dare contradict the king, who had executed his last opponent by spacing him slowly through an airlock. "Who shall lead this glorious conquest?" asked Minister Tail, the oldest member of the council. Before anyone could speak, Admiral Junho stepped forward and knelt. His uniform bore medals from 30 successful planetary invasions. "My king, I volunteer to lead the royal fleet. Earth will fall swiftly before our might." King Deho studied the admiral. Junho had never failed in battle, but his ambition was obvious. Still, a simple conquest like this posed little risk of the admiral gaining too much power. "Very well, Admiral. How many ships will you require?" Admiral Junho considered carefully. 300 warships should be sufficient, Your Majesty. We will overwhelm their defenses and secure surrender within days." "So few?" Daho raised an eyebrow. "Any more would be wasteful, Your Majesty. Their technology cannot harm our ships. They have no energy weapons, no gravity manipulation, no faster-than-light capabilities." The king nodded and rose from his throne. All present bowed their heads as he descended the 3 steps to stand before Admiral Junho. "You have 3 lunar cycles to prepare. I want Earth secured by my birthday celebration. It will be my gift to myself." The king placed a heavy hand on Junho's shoulder. "Do not disappoint me, Admiral." "Never, my king." Junho's voice was steady, but sweat beaded on his forehead. Everyone knew what happened to those who failed King Daio. As the council dispersed, Admiral Junho joined his captain, Hyunwoo, in the corridor outside. 300 ships, Captain Hyunwoo whispered. "Are you certain that's enough? We know so little about these humans." Admiral Junho waved away the concern. "Our scouts have observed them for years. They waste resources fighting each other. Their weapons are toys compared to ours. Still, Admiral, perhaps we should." "Enough, Captain. Prepare the fleet. I want our best ships and crews. This will be a simple operation, but I want it to be flawless." 12 light years away, on a planet the natives called Earth, a different conversation was taking place. Deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, in a facility unknown to the public, Lieutenant Commander Ju Li stared at her monitor. For weeks, she had been tracking unusual signal patterns from the direction of the Taiwan system. Today, the encryption had finally been broken. "Sir," she called across the dimly lit operations center. "General Park, you need to see this immediately." General Minjin Park crossed the room quickly, his expression serious. 20 years in Earth's Unified Defense Force had taught him that excitement in the Deep Space Monitoring Division rarely meant good news. "What have you found, Commander?" Juwu highlighted sections of the translated text. "We've intercepted and decoded their battle plans. An alien empire called the Taiwan is planning to invade Earth. They think we're defenseless." The general's eyes widened as he read the details. Fleet size, weapons capabilities, invasion timeline. It was all there. "They have no idea, do they?" he said quietly. "No, sir. Their intelligence is decades out of date. They don't know about Project Phoenix." General Park straightened up. "How long do we have?" "Based on their communications, about 2 months until their fleet arrives." The general nodded and reached for the secure phone that connected directly to the World Security Council. "That's enough time. Activate Code Prometheus. I'll inform the Council immediately." Commander Juwu entered the command codes, initiating worldwide defense protocols developed in secret for exactly this scenario. "Sir," she said as the confirmation codes flashed across her screen, "should we send a warning? Tell them not to come." General Park shook his head. "No, let them come." A rare smile crossed his face. "They think they're hunting us. Let's not spoil the surprise." As alarms silently activated in hidden military bases around the world, the general added, "These Taiwan have no idea what they're walking into. After all these years of preparation, we'll finally get to test our capabilities against real alien technology." Commander Juwu nodded. "Poor Admiral Chuno." "Indeed," the general agreed. "Happy birthday, King Doyo. Earth has a present for you, too." The massive Taiwan royal fleet dropped out of hyperspace in a brilliant flash of light. 300 warships, each one blacker than the space around them, appeared near the gas giant humans called Jupiter. The ships moved into a perfect arrow formation, their engines glowing with purple energy as they oriented toward the third planet from the sun. Admiral Juno stood on the bridge of the flagship Imperial Fist, hands clasped behind his back as he surveyed the tactical display. His uniform was immaculate, decorated with the skulls of conquered species and the emblems of past victories. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said to no one in particular. "Another world that will soon bow to King Dao." Captain Hyunwoo approached and saluted. "Admiral, all ships report ready for combat. Weapons are charged and shields are at maximum. We await your command." Admiral Chuno nodded. "Send the ultimatum to their primitive communication networks. Use their main languages. Make sure they understand completely that resistance is pointless." Moments later, the message was broadcast across all Earth frequencies. "People of Earth, this is Admiral Chuno of the Taiwan Royal Fleet. Your planet is claimed by King Daeho of the Taiwan Empire. Surrender within 1 rotation of your planet, and you will be allowed to live as servants of the Empire. Resist, and you will be exterminated. You have 1 Earth day to comply." The Admiral turned to his communication officer. "Monitor their global networks. I want to see their panic when they realize what has happened." The bridge crew waited expectantly. Minutes passed. The screens showed various Earth news broadcasts, social media, and military channels. "Sir," the communication officer finally said, confusion in his voice, "we're detecting no unusual activity. No emergency broadcasts. No military mobilization. Nothing." Captain Hyunwoo stepped closer to the Admiral. "That's unusual, sir. Primitive species typically respond with either immediate surrender or chaotic defense attempts." Admiral Chuno frowned. "They must be in shock. Or perhaps they don't understand the message. We've translated it into all their major languages, sir." "Then they're paralyzed with fear," the Admiral laughed, though his eyes betrayed a hint of uncertainty. "It doesn't matter. Prepare the fleet to move into Earth orbit in 6 hours. I want a complete scan of their defense capabilities before we arrive." As the crew followed his orders, Admiral Chuno stepped to the viewing window. Earth was still just a blue dot from this distance, peaceful and unaware of its fate. "Captain," he said quietly, "have we detected any attempt by the humans to communicate with us?" "No, sir." Complete silence. The Admiral's claw tapped against the metal railing. "Interesting." Meanwhile, on Earth, alarms were blaring in the underground command center beneath Geneva. "The United Defense Council, Representatives from all nations gathered around the central holographic display, watching the alien fleet's position. President Yoon-ji Kim, elected by the Council to lead Earth's defense after decades of service in the global Space Force, stood at the head of the table. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back in a tight bun, her expression calm despite the crisis. "The Taiwan fleet has arrived exactly where our intercepted communications predicted," she stated. "They're holding position near Jupiter. All nations report ready status." General Minjin Park, commander of Earth's combined military forces, nodded. "The aliens have sent their ultimatum, Madam President. Standard conquer or die speech. They expect either surrender or panic." "And they're getting neither," said Defense Minister Jiho, a slight smile on his face. "The public remains unaware, and our forces are maintaining radio silence as ordered." President Kim looked around the table. "For 50 years, we've been preparing for this day. Since the first scout ship crashed in Mongolia, we've been harvesting their technology, learning their tactics. The world united in secret while these Taiwan thought we were still fighting amongst ourselves." She walked around the table, touching a control panel that brought up images of Earth's hidden defenses, orbital platforms disguised as satellites, underground launch facilities, fleets of advanced ships hidden beneath the oceans. "Activate the Aegis Protocol," she ordered. "All planetary defense systems online, but remain in stealth mode. No emissions that could be detected." General Minjin's fingers flew across his tablet. "Aegis Protocol activated. Defense grid powering up. Quantum missile batteries online. Gravity disruptors standing by." The room filled with the soft hum of computers as Earth's true military might awakened. On screens around the chamber, hidden doors opened in mountainsides, ocean floors, and desert plains worldwide, revealing weapons the Taiwan could not imagine humans possessing. "What about our ships?" asked Admiral Sunjin, commander of Earth's Navy. "Keep them submerged until the final moment," President Kim replied. "Let the Taiwan come closer. Let them think they're facing a helpless world." Science Director Minji stepped forward. "The reverse-engineered shields are functioning at 120% of Taiwan capacity. The modifications we made to their own technology have exceeded expectations." General Minjin's face remained serious. "The aliens have no idea we've been capturing their scout ships for decades. They still think their first official contact with us is today. Their overconfidence will be their undoing," President Kim said. "We will not fire the first shot. Let them come. Let them begin their attack. And then," she looked around at her fellow leaders, determination in her eyes, "we will show them that Earth is not the prize they think it is. It's a trap." As she spoke, on screens throughout the command center, Earth's hidden defenders moved silently into position, weapons ready, while Admiral Chunho's fleet began its confident approach toward what the Taiwan believed would be an easy conquest. The Taiwan fleet moved toward Earth with perfect military precision. Admiral Juno watched with satisfaction as his ship split into 3 distinct attack formations. The main force, led by his flagship, Imperial Fist, headed directly toward the planet's northern hemisphere. The 2 smaller wings curved gracefully to approach from east and west. "No response from the humans?" Admiral Chuno asked, settling into his command chair. "None, Admiral," Captain Hyunwoo replied. "Their primitive satellites have detected us, but they've made no attempt to communicate or defend." The Admiral smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "As expected, begin scanning their population centers." On the massive view screen, Earth grew larger. Blue oceans, white clouds, and green-brown landmasses came into focus. The ship's computers highlighted major human cities with red targeting markers. "Weapon systems at full power," reported the weapons officer. "All ships in position." Admiral Chunho stood up, enjoying the moment. Conquests like this had made his career. This would be his 31st victory, a record in the Taiwan military. "Begin bombardment of their major cities," he ordered. "Start with the ones they call New York, Beijing, and Moscow. Let's show them our power. Yes, Admiral, the weapons officer responded, entering the command codes. Captain Hyunwoo moved to stand beside the Admiral. Sir, I'm still troubled by their lack of response. Our intelligence indicated they would at least attempt to. His words were cut short as alarms suddenly blared throughout the bridge. Red warning lights flashed across every control panel. What is happening? Admiral Junho demanded. The tactical officer's face paled. Sir, multiple launches detected from Earth's surface. Thousands of them. Impossible, the Admiral whispered, rushing to the tactical screen. Captain Hyunwoo stared in disbelief. Sir, our sensors didn't detect any launch facilities or missile silos. How did they? Before he could finish, the first wave of Earth's quantum missiles reached the Taewon fleet. Unlike conventional weapons, these missiles existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making them invisible to Taewon sensors until they collapsed into a single state at the moment of impact. The result was devastating. 47 Taewon warships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The shockwaves rippled through space, rocking the surviving vessels. On the bridge of the Imperial Fist, officers were thrown from their stations as the ship's artificial gravity fluctuated. Report. Admiral Junho shouted, pulling himself back to his feet. What weapons are they using? Unknown, sir. The science officer frantically analyzed the data. The missiles appeared out of nowhere. They're using some kind of quantum technology we've never seen before. Impossible. Admiral Junho slammed his fist on the command console, cracking its surface. Their weapons can't be this advanced. Our intelligence. Sir, Captain Hyunwoo interrupted. Second wave incoming. The Admiral turned to the communications officer. Order all ships to raise shields to maximum. Evasive maneuvers. But it was too late for many of the Taewon vessels. The second wave of quantum missiles struck with pinpoint accuracy, targeting engine cores and weapon systems. 30 more ships erupted into fireballs that quickly died in the vacuum of space. Meanwhile, in Earth's military headquarters, Lieutenant Ju Lee monitored the battle from her station. Holographic displays showed the positions of every ship, both Taewon and human. First wave successful, she reported into her headset. Enemy fleet has lost 77 vessels. Their formation is breaking. General Minjin nodded with grim satisfaction. Excellent. Deploy Ravian squadrons now. Lieutenant Ju relayed the command. All Ravian squadrons, you are cleared for launch. Happy hunting. Across Earth, hidden hangar doors slid open in mountain ranges, desert floors, and ocean surfaces. From these concealed bases rose Earth's secret weapon, the Ravian fighters. Small, black, and shaped like arrowheads, these ships had been developed using technology reverse-engineered from crashed Taewon scout vessels. The Ravian squadrons accelerated upward, breaking through the atmosphere at speeds the Taewon had believed impossible for human technology. Each fighter carried 2 pilots and prototype fusion cannons, weapons that the Taewon themselves had yet to perfect. In space, Admiral Junho struggled to regain control of the battle. Reform the fleet. Target those missile launch sites. Sir, Captain Hyunwoo said, pointing at the tactical display. New contacts. Hundreds of small ships approaching. The Admiral watched in growing horror as a swarm of human fighters entered the battle. They moved with impossible agility, weaving between the larger Taewon vessels. Those can't be human ships, he whispered. They're too advanced. The Raven fighters opened fire. Streams of blue-white energy lanced out from their fusion cannons, slicing through Taewon shields as if they weren't there. Shields failing on multiple ships, cried the tactical officer. Our defenses can't stop their weapons. On the lead Ravian fighter, Commander Soman smiled behind her flight helmet. This is Ravian leader to all squadrons. Their shields are vulnerable to our fusion cannons. Target their engines and weapons first. Copy that, Ravian leader, came the chorus of responses. The fighters darted between the massive Taiwan warships like insects attacking lumbering beasts. Their fusion cannons cut through alien hulls, venting atmosphere and crew into the cold vacuum of space. Back on the Imperial Fist, Admiral Junot watched his fleet being systematically destroyed. How is this possible? He demanded of no one in particular. How could we have been so wrong about their capabilities? Captain Hyunwoo had no answer as another explosion rocked their ship. The mighty Taiwan Royal Fleet, pride of the Empire and terror of 100 worlds, was being annihilated by a species they had dismissed as primitive. And the battle had only just begun. The Imperial Fist shuddered as another explosion rocked the massive warship. Emergency lights flashed red throughout the bridge. Smoke poured from damaged control panels. The proud command center of the Taiwan Royal Fleet had become a scene of chaos. Captain Hyunwoo pulled himself up from the floor, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. Around him, crew members frantically worked to keep systems online. He made his way to Admiral Junot, who stood rigidly before the main view screen, watching the destruction of his fleet. "Admiral," Captain Hyunwoo reported, his voice trembling. "We've lost half the fleet. 150 ships destroyed in less than an hour." Admiral Junot didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on the tactical display, tracking the remaining Taiwan vessels as they blinked out one by one. "Sir," Captain Hyunwoo continued, "the humans are deploying some kind of gravitational weapon we've never seen before. It's tearing our ships apart at the molecular level." The science officer looked up from his station. "The weapon creates localized gravity distortions. Our hulls can't withstand the stress. They're being pulled apart atom by atom." Admiral Junot finally turned from the screen. His face, normally full of confidence, now showed fear. "Contact King Dotto. We need reinforcements. Tell him." "Communications are down, sir," the communications officer interrupted. "We can't reach the homeworld or any other Taiwan forces." "How is that possible? Our quantum communicators are unhackable." The officer shook his head. "The humans have somehow compromised our systems. They're broadcasting this." He activated a small screen. On it appeared the face of a human female in a military uniform. "This is Colonel Hannah of Earth's Cyber Warfare Division," she said calmly. "We have control of your communication systems, Admiral Junot. Your distress calls will not reach your empire." Admiral Junot slammed his fist against the screen, cracking it. "Impossible. These primitives couldn't possibly understand our technology." Captain Hyunwoo stepped closer. "Sir, we must consider retreat. We can't win this battle." "Retreat?" The Admiral's voice rose. "I've never retreated in 30 years of conquest. I will not be the first Taiwan Admiral to run from primitives." "Sir, with respect, these are not primitives. Their technology matches or exceeds our own." Another explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered and died, replaced by dim emergency lighting. "Engine core damage," reported the engineering officer. "We have partial power only." Admiral Junot paced the bridge, his mind racing. Defeat was unthinkable. King Daho executed those who failed him. "Regroup. We must make one final push," the Admiral ordered. "Gather our surviving ships. We will concentrate our attack on their largest city. Even with their advanced weapons, they can't protect every population center." The crew rushed to obey, but their efforts were interrupted by a new alarm. "Large vessel approaching," called the tactical officer. It's massive, sir." On the view screen appeared a ship unlike any they had seen before. While Taiwan vessels were sleek and black, this human ship was angular and gunmetal gray, with massive weapon emplacements along its hull. It was twice the size of the Imperial Fist. "The humans built this," whispered Captain Hyunwoo. "How did we miss it in our reconnaissance?" Text scrolled across the bottom of the view screen as the human ship broadcast its identity. EDS Horizon, Earth Defense Force flagship. Admiral Junot studied the approaching vessel. "Prepare all remaining weapons. Target their bridge." Before his crew could act, the tactical officer cried out, Multiple small craft launching from the human ship. They're heading straight for us. Dozens of smaller vessels detached from the horizon, streaking toward the Imperial Fist at incredible speed. Boarding craft. Captain Hyunwoo realized with horror. They're going to board us. Impossible. The Admiral shook his head. Our shields. Shields are at 12%, sir. They can't stop a determined boarding action. Admiral Juno straightened his uniform. Security teams to all entry points. Repel boarders. But it was too late. The human boarding craft attached themselves to the hull of the Imperial Fist like metallic parasites. Specialized cutting tools burned through the Taiwan ship's armor in seconds. Colonel Taeyong stood in the lead boarding craft, checking his weapon one final time. Around him, 20 of Earth's best Marines prepared for combat. They wore powered armor reverse-engineered from Taiwan technology, but improved with human innovations. Remember, Colonel Taeyong said to his team, we want the Admiral alive. King Daho needs to see his best commander defeated. Breach points secured, reported Sergeant Subin, her voice calm despite the danger. Ready on your mark, Colonel. Breach. The cutting tools completed their work, and explosive charges blew inward, creating 20 entry points throughout the Imperial Fist. Earth Marines poured into the alien vessel, their advanced weapons making short work of the Taiwan defenders. On the bridge, Admiral Juno heard the fighting getting closer. Seal the bridge, he ordered. Prepare for. The main doors exploded inward. Through the smoke strode Sergeant Subin and her Marine squad, weapons trained on the Taiwan crew. Nobody move, she commanded. Admiral Chunho reached for his sidearm, but froze when 5 red targeting lasers appeared on his chest. I wouldn't, Sergeant Subin warned. Stand down, Admiral. It's over. Captain Hyunwoo raised his hands. Sir, please. Enough have died today. Admiral Chunho slowly raised his hands, but his right hand moved toward a small device on his wrist, the self-destruct mechanism that would destroy the Imperial Fist and everyone aboard. He's going for the self-destruct, shouted one of the Marines. Sergeant Subin didn't flinch. It won't work, Admiral. We disabled it an hour ago. Admiral Chunho pressed the button repeatedly, but nothing happened. His last hope of an honorable death vanished. How? He asked, genuine confusion in his voice. How did you do all this? You were supposed to be primitive. Sergeant Subin smiled as she placed restraints on the Admiral's wrists. You should have checked your intelligence more carefully. She activated her comm unit. Breach successful. Admiral captured. The Imperial Fist is ours. Colonel Taeyong's voice came through clearly. Excellent work, Sergeant. Bring him to the horizon. It's time to send King Daho a message he'll never forget. King Daho sat on his throne, surrounded by his 12 advisors. None dared to speak. The king's tail twitched angrily against the polished floor as he waited. Play it again, he ordered, his voice barely above a whisper. The royal technician bowed deeply and reactivated the holographic projector. Once more, the recording filled the center of the throne room. The footage showed Admiral Chunho, the pride of the Taiwan military, in chains. Human soldiers stood on either side of him. His once immaculate uniform was torn and stained. His posture, always so perfect, was now slumped in defeat. I, Admiral Chunho of the Taiwan Royal Fleet, the Admiral said, his voice flat, hereby surrender all remaining forces under my command to the Earth Defense Force. I acknowledge the complete defeat of the invasion fleet sent by King Daho. The camera panned out to show the wreckage of Taiwan ships floating in Earth orbit. Nearly 300 mighty warships reduced to twisted metal and floating debris. Impossible, King Daho whispered. His claws dug into the arms of his throne, leaving deep scratches in the metal. General Minho, who had replaced Admiral Chunho as head of the military, stepped forward nervously. My king, we have confirmed the recording is authentic. Our fleet has been destroyed. Admiral Chunho and 30,000 crew members are prisoners of the humans. How? King Daho demanded, rising from his throne. How could primitives defeat our most advanced ships? No one answered. No one had an explanation that would satisfy the king. Our intelligence was wrong, Science Minister J1 finally said. The humans have been harvesting our technology from scout ships that crashed on their planet. We thought those ships were lost to accidents. In reality, the humans were shooting them down, studying them, and improving on our designs. King Deho roared in anger, his scales flaring red with rage. Then you have failed me. All of you. Before anyone could respond, the royal communications officer rushed into the throne room. He fell to his knees before the king. My king. Urgent news. The humans have launched a ship. It will reach our homeworld in 3 days. Silence fell over the throne room. In all its history, no enemy had ever reached the Taiwan homeworld. One ship, General Minho asked. Yes, General, but it's larger than anything in our defense fleet, and it's moving at speeds we cannot match. King Deho slowly returned to his throne. For the first time in his long reign, fear showed in his yellow eyes. Prepare our defenses, he ordered, and contact our allies. We need help. But when the calls went out, no help came. The other empires and kingdoms of the galaxy were watching to see what would happen. The mighty Taiwan, who had conquered 100 worlds, were now facing an unknown threat. 3 days later, the human ship arrived. It entered orbit around the Taiwan homeworld with calm confidence, ignoring the defensive fleet that surrounded it. It was massive, twice the size of the largest Taiwan vessel, and bristled with weapons. They're hailing us, reported the communications officer. On the main screen appeared a human female in formal attire. I am Ambassador Jihai of Earth, she announced. I come with terms from the United Earth government. I request permission to land and present these terms directly to King Dao. The king had no choice. Refusing would mean war. A war they now knew they couldn't win. 1 hour later, Ambassador Ji stepped from her shuttle onto Taiwan soil. She walked confidently, flanked by 6 human guards in powered armor. The royal palace, usually buzzing with activity, was unnaturally quiet as she was escorted to the throne room. Inside, the full court had assembled. Hundreds of noble Taiwan watched with a mixture of fear and hatred as the human delegation entered. King Deho did not rise from his throne. It was his small act of defiance. Ambassador, he said coldly, you come uninvited to my world. Ambassador Jihai smiled slightly. Much as your fleet came uninvited to ours, Your Majesty. The difference is that we come with words, not weapons. She gestured, and one of her guards stepped forward with a metal case. From it, she removed a document written on actual paper, an ancient human tradition for important treaties. We bring terms of peace, she announced to the assembled royal court, and consequences for unprovoked aggression. She handed the document to the royal scribe, who passed it to King Dao. As he read, his scales darkened with anger. These terms are outrageous, he snarled. You demand reparations equal to half our treasury. You claim our mining rights in 3 star systems. You require us to recognize Earth's sovereignty over your entire solar system. Ambassador Jihai remained calm. Those are our terms, Your Majesty. We could have demanded much more. We could have brought our new gravitational weapons to your homeworld instead of words. Around the throne room, representatives from other galactic powers watched silently through their ambassadors or communication devices. The species they had all dismissed as primitive had just obliterated the most powerful fleet in the quadrant. The balance of power was shifting before their eyes. King Deho looked to his advisors, but they all looked away. There was no choice. Slowly, the king pressed his royal seal to the document. As he did, Ambassador Jihai added one final point. We look forward to peaceful relations between our peoples, King Dao. But remember, Earth is not to be trifled with. We prefer friendship, but we do not fear war. As the human delegation departed, news of the treaty spread across the stars faster than light itself. In 1,000 worlds, species who had feared the Taiwan for generations now whispered about the humans. They were not the easy conquest everyone had assumed. They were something far more dangerous, underestimated. In the royal gardens that night, King Deho stood alone, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there was a blue planet he had thought would be an easy prize. Instead, it had brought his empire to its knees. Next time, he whispered to himself, "We will be ready." But from the shadows, Ambassador Jahai's words seemed to echo. Earth is not to be trifled with. And for the first time in his life, King Deho knew fear. The ENDUR3SF